ma se rifugna nelle cuore.
What are you doing?
Oh my god.
I don't even know what's going on.
Player one. Prepare yourself.
Don't forget our gift cards at RitaYanez.com, and so am I.
Turn on the light! Turn on the light!
Hi there, Scorpio. This is your weekly reading for the week of December 14th through 20th. I hope your month is off to a great start, your holidays are off to a great start, and that you're feeling better. We had some tough astrology last week. I think in general, it was harder for the adults, and for you guys on an emotional level, you were probably feeling pretty depleted. So with that said, you're going to be feeling better just as soon as a few of the first bumps and, hitches in the giddy up are out of the way at the beginning of the week, and then you'll see you'll be just fine. I'm actually surprised I can even talk. I have been super tired for weeks. I've been running on almost empty with very little sleep, a bunch of technical things that I had to get out of the way. And then my son was really worried about me, my eldest, and he's like, Mom, I'm getting worried. And I was like, you don't understand. It's me, me, and me. And so I've been having to do a lot of other work behind the scenes to bring things to you in the way that I prefer to. And you probably noticed that I had to move the channel over, a lot of other technical things. I am so overwhelmed that I am pleased to calm down and talk to my Scorpio friends, because I'm one of you and I just know this stuff by heart. So I almost don't have to work at it. But I've put the research into it for you because I'm a Virgo rising. And so for those of you who are Scorpio ascendant, your rising sign, this will be much more accurate for you. And for those of you that don't know your rising sign, find any of the free natal chart calculators on the internet. There's one on my webpage somewhere. It's not my favorite one, but you just need to have your birth date, your birth time accurate, and the location, and you'll be able to figure out what your rising sign or ascendant is. As you get older, that will be more important for you. Right now, I think that this will suffice. More accuracy, like I said, is when you read it for your rising sign. That's how I've got it set up, and as it is, it will speak personally to you anyway, anyhow, because I believe that the universe knows exactly what you need when you need it, and I am one of the world's biggest tools. On Monday, we've got the Six of Swords, and this is a card that indicates you're feeling like you're going to be getting behind or getting your problems passed behind you, to move away from them, to leave them where they are. And there will be some of you that are actually going to be relocating and moving over water. If that's an opportunity that comes to you, like if you've got family in another country, or, it could even be moving across the river and being on the other side of the canyon, like where I'm at right now, and you'll see what I mean. The bigger, the greater the body of water, the more emphasis you must have on your solar ninth house. And I think by the end of this month, right around that full moon in Cancer, your solar ninth house, there will be many of you, especially Scorpio rising, who will look back and go, whoa, Rita didn't realize that we were moving to a house that has a swimming pool. Others are going to say, dude, you don't get it. I actually moved across an ocean. And there will still be others that say, I stood outside in the rain and was dancing. Not quite, but you know what I'm saying. On Monday, we've also got the Sun in Sagittarius squaring Jupiter and Virgo. Sagittarius is your solar second house, and this is the house that includes your curling irons and your pumping iron and your car and your possessions and your items, the things that you buy with money or the things at your age are given to you by your parents, or if your grades are strong enough for them to let you have a job, which of course, even in high school, they won't let you work a job if your grades are not strong enough because you're going to get distracted. Then this would be the stuff that you buy with your money. Or even if you don't have a traditional job, but actually you babysit, and that's more of a traditional job than anything, that this is what you buy with that money. So having the sun there means that there's a spotlight, and it could be that you're realizing, God, I bought 3 CDs and I didn't realize I was going to be out of money totally. And so this is how you learn how to budget and to really wait for when you've got the money. And then before you buy something, take your time and control your impulses so that you figure out whether you really want that thing or not, especially if it can't be returned. Like, let's say you bought a bottle of axle grease and it doesn't perform the way you want. Well, you could probably take that back to the store. But if you buy a computer and try to return it and you miss certain dates, or you bought some music, it gets much more difficult to get all of your money back because they're probably going to ding you, even though now there's more options. You don't have to buy a whole album. You can buy one song and that kind of thing. So also for those of you, I am not pimping for Google, but I love Google. If you're not a subscriber of Google Play, they're fantastic. Sign up with your main Gmail address, then sign up so that you receive their notifications, because they will totally kick you over albums for free all the time. You'll get an email notification. It might even be a movie, and then you have to make sure that you go follow the link and get it because they do expire. Now, I will remind you of one trick you need to keep in mind. And even if you've got a parent or a friend with a credit card that has nothing on it, even if you have to get one of those store credit cards where you load it with $20 or something, whenever you go to even get your free stuff that Google Play will give you, you will have to enter a credit card number, and it's like as if you're buying it, but it actually, the checkout price is zero. Just see if somebody will help you out. I wouldn't want to use somebody's credit card if their life depends on it, because an accident could happen anyway. I wouldn't want to be responsible for anybody else's credit card. But like if you've got a parent or somebody who trusts you, and or they've got one of those credit cards, like I've got an old one where my kids' child support used to go to, and then that company switched to another company, so I still have like the dead card that's still alive, but no money is in it. I don't know if they'll send me a new one in a few years, but that's the one that I use. So don't be surprised if when you go to receive your album or your song or your movie that it asks you to check out. Have a parent or guardian or somebody else in control of those types of things help you with it, but keep that in mind. Also, with Jupiter being in Virgo, your solar 11th house, there could also be some realizations about who your friends are. And in some cases, it's going to be who your friends are not. Maybe you thought you were so tight with your girlfriend or your bro or whatever, or actually the person that you're dating, if you're allowed to date. For those of you that are not allowed to date, you know what I'm talking about, and you know what time it is. These are the people that are your friends, and you have kind of those unspoken friendships that don't get out of control or anything, but that kind of thing. There could be some reality checks in terms of maybe you have a friend that's trying to keep you all to themselves, and you're like, but dude, I have other people that I walk to class with. I had a girlfriend in high school that would get totally possessive of me, and she didn't like it if anyone else would talk to me. Now, at the same time, she wasn't always the nicest to me. I knew she had issues, and I knew her home life, and I loved her and cared for her. It wasn't in a weird way. We were just friends, okay, besties like. And yet at the same time, she was so possessive of me that nobody else could really be my friend. And it actually persists to this day with at least one person. And I think it has more to do with those two not getting along. But it was just very difficult because I was like, wow, and if you would have been nicer to me, we would have been closer. But, then she got so emo and it was so weird. I'm so glad that cutting wasn't a thing. That's like a really bad thing. Don't do that thing. Because I wonder, what would this person have done? At least her tiny rebellion was makeup or something. But make sure that you keep in mind that Mercury in Capricorn sextiling Neptune in Pisces, Capricorn again being that solar third house, and Neptune in Pisces being your solar fifth house of friendships and romance and dating. And again, I'm not leaving people out because most of you are not allowed to date because you probably come from conservative families. And so they just want your butt in college as soon as possible. And that's when you'll get your freedom. You'll get your flying wings then, right? When you're in college. So just keep in mind that this could be some of the same kind of realizations that are healing. And even though it could come at the expense of a realization like, wow, I thought this was the person who was going to love me forever. And now I'm starting to get that realization that I hear adults talking about that, yeah, it's probably not that way because we're all so young. This is when you get to know people and you get to know yourself, and hopefully without getting involved in any kind of drugs, alcohol, hurting your body. Look, if you could tell me that the worst thing you've ever done is draw a big old X on the bottom of your foot with a Sharpie, I'd be surprised because I'm sometimes scared out of my mind at what I see happening going, oh shit. And I have to keep a poker face all the time, right? I work with a lot of kids. So with that said, just remember that there is healing that could come at the expense of some realizations that are due to Chiron and Pisces, as well as Pisces being activated by Neptune, where you're like, dude, I thought you were my friend. And it's like, no, I wasn't your friend. And it becomes a freaking Jerry Springer moment. So don't let it get ghetto or anything. But you know what I'm saying? On Tuesday, we got the Nine of Pentacles in reverse, where you may be feeling like, wow, I feel so alone. You know, maybe it's kind of one of those hypothetical hippie moments where you just feel so small and insignificant and the universe is so big and your hand is even bigger in front of your face. And so this is one of those realizations that you might have, that either you feel very alone, let it come and go. You're never really alone. You're with yourself at all times. Also, keep in mind that I'm totally aware of your guardians in the spiritual sense that are around you so often you don't know. Some of you are like me, where I was living on the edge. I worked in an industry that was very confusing enough at the time, in the entertainment industry, a bunch of weird freaking people. And I didn't even understand why people were doing drugs if I was sitting there having one hell of a time as sober as I was, you know. And so there was a lot of confusion that I experienced. And in the same way, I felt alone, though I was around a lot of people. And you might actually have been around a lot of people or even been in a relationship recently. And you're like, dude, I totally get it now. I don't want to be in a relationship. What I really want is to be left alone so that I could figure out what I'm going to do. I have to come up with a major, or you're going from middle school to high school and you're like, I don't even want people's drama. I have a 17-year-old who was testing at the local college for his ACT, and he really doesn't need it. I figured that out later, but he wanted to do it, and I wanted him to have an experience there testing for hours and hours and hours. I went home and took a nap. And so at the same time, you know, I realized that this is a kid who's been able to keep himself out of relationships, even though I know he suffers them. And I call him Barack Obama because he gets on the treadmill, the elliptical, and then he just keeps himself busy like a freaking hamster on a wheel. And I'm like, I wish I would have had a mom like me when I was his age. I wish I would have had somebody in my face talking to me who would rather wear rags than have nice clothes and have to work to keep up appearances, because I don't even leave my kids. Let me tell you something. My parents divorced when I was 11, and that was like a good thing because my parents needed to be apart, but a bad thing because then my mother wasn't the same stay-at-home person baking cakes and making my dresses. You know, suddenly I was like so alone. And so if you do feel alone, if you do feel separate somehow from existence or humanity, remember that this is just a feeling that you're experiencing. Call it cosmic, call it planetary, call it Buddhist. You know, whatever this moment is, just accept it and move forward through it. Also, you're going to be feeling some of that energy here on Tuesday with Mars and Libra still being challenged by, Uranus and Aries. So Libra, your solar 12th house, Aries, your solar 6th house. 6th house is the daily activities, your health, the way you take care of your body, or if you party like a damn rock star and your life revolves around Doritos and Diet Coke or Diet Pepsi. And again, not pimping, they don't pay me. So if you're living on the edge like this, or God forbid, you're drinking those monster, horrible poison drinks, you know, you're probably going to get a wake-up call in the form of your skin having difficulty, or you don't feel well, your energy level is too low, or you can't concentrate on the most important thing you're supposed to be concentrating now anyway, is your schoolwork and getting those grades up as much as you can before the end of the reporting period. Whatever else your responsibilities are, which probably include kitty litter, cleaning the bathroom, diapering the baby, helping with the laundry, and all the other things that we do to pitch in to make life easier for all of us, and of course to teach you valuable life skills even if you don't think you need them. And so if you have that kind of energy around you that feels challenging at times, it might be because there's a restlessness of your spirit or your soul. And it could be coming through because of a past life. It could be something that you can't make sense of because you don't have a weird guru named Rita sitting in your face, which then we'd figure it out easy enough. And then if you think about it, you might realize that there are some times in life, and when you're a teen, it's probably more likely that it's kind of hard to make sense of the way you feel, especially if you're a Scorpio or Scorpio rising, because you know that you're different already. And then it's kind of weird to say this, but I gotta just put it this way. You guys are so close to your previous life experiences, if you do believe in or partake in the idea of past life experiences, that it's almost too fresh and you're still too aware of it. And then as we go through life, even the best, most intuitive, highly psychic and crazy Scorpio has to go through a numbing process where we have to shift our focus to the daily grind, going to college, getting degrees, having a job, not getting involved with people seriously and accidentally making babies or anything. God bless them. They are blessings, but they're really not supposed to enter this world accidentally. Although they do, and we love them anyway, it just makes it more difficult for people to care for them and provide for them. And oftentimes they end up adopted, and that could be their life script. How would we know? Anybody who says you chose that life, I'm like, I want to kick your ass, because I don't think I chose some of the stuff I went through. I can imagine that it would almost be insulting to say to some little baby in a war-torn country that it chose this. I really don't see it that way. I think we're in the world that is created by men, just mankind, not male men, masculine men. It's just the world we live in and just the circumstances that being a part of this world entails. I wish no one had to ever suffer, but so many of us Scorpions, we cause our own suffering because we want to feel every depth of emotion. And I tell people, could you put it off until you're in college? Could you get a couple of years under your belt? Could you get to your associate's degree? And then on the way to your bachelor's, could you? I know that's a lot to ask, but once you get to be as old as me and being as conscious of being as teen as I was, and that's why I'm doing this, you'll know what I'm talking about. So if you need alone time, you probably will benefit very much from it. On Wednesday, we've got the Four of Swords upright, and this is telling me that you sure as heck would benefit from it. You need time to think about things. Do not do anything impulsively. Just because you're a little girlfriend or boyfriend or bestie or whatever this brohood is, do not get too wrapped up in it, because I guarantee you that these things will pass. Are the chances high that you're going to stick together as you get older? No, they're very low. You might reconnect on Facebook or through some alumni page on Facebook. But other than that, the chances are very low that we end up. Yes, it does happen sometimes that you find out that in these romantic Harlequin romances that people marry their high school sweetheart and they stayed together for 75 years, had 6 children, they've got 78 grandchildren, and dynasties of people living perfect lives. It's not that easy, and especially if you live fully and deeply like a Scorpio. We're trying to keep ourselves from getting hurt, people. When people are like, I wish I was so cool and psychic like you. And I'm like, what the hell? You really think that this is cool or psychic or easy? This sucks at times because I'm just too aware of things. And then the worst part was I was totally aware of what I needed and what kind of help and direction I needed when I was a teenager. And I didn't have anybody around there providing the structure, because I would have been so much happier if my mother would not have been gone, suddenly needing to work, suddenly going to college at night, suddenly working extra jobs on the weekends, and then she decided dating was a good idea. And I was like, I would have just wanted my mom to be there with me, even if I would have bucked up at the rules, because there were a lot of rules anyway. For me, I really would have preferred just to have my mother there, talking to me, helping me understand why I felt the way I did, which is not an easy thing. I tell people, you must be a badass if you gave birth to a Scorpio child, because let me tell you, having been one, you know what I'm talking about. Even those of you little choir boys and perfect people and, living very sweet and structured, fortunate lives, it still is hard being a Scorpio because you're so ultra hyper aware of everything all the time. The only time you guys mess up is like when I messed up, when I didn't listen to what? My best judgment. I sometimes wanted to ignore that little voice on my shoulder. It reminds me of the movie Hercules, No. It was Emperor's New Groove. And then that guy Kronk, he's got like a little angel and a little devil on each of his shoulders, and he's just kind of like the big dopey cute guy. And so one of them's trying to tell him what to do in the good sense, and he was facetious, and then the devil's telling him to do totally the wrong thing, and he's like, whoa. Look up the movie if you haven't seen it in a long time. It is excellent. On Thursday, we've got the Four of Cups upright. This is a card that indicates you may be feeling a little apathetic. I still think you need some alone time. I think it's time for you and your journal or your online blog or your digital art, or your music and interpretive dance. It is so bitchin' to watch people doing interpretive dance. It is so wild and crazy, and yet at the same time, I just want to do it with them. I've always wanted to be a mime. Anyway, so you might be feeling like you're stuck a little bit in the routine of feeling like, okay, so am I in the dumps or am I coming out? Is it just that I'm facing this realization that this little kid said he was going to love me forever, and yeah, probably not. I was an experiment on a science lab table. And so there's a lot of realizations that could cause us to feel a little bit stuck in the apathy, but I don't think you need to. Take the time that you need. If the realization is romantic, which it could be for a lot of you, probably more so than the adults, then the realization is probably one of some slight disappointment. But I want you to first straighten your back up, sit up, say to yourself that you are amazing. And if another individual does not see it that way, obviously they are inherently flawed. And then you need to find comfort and peace and solace and excitement just being you, all on your own. You don't need anyone else to make you feel better. Yeah, I know that it makes you feel more validated when somebody thinks you're amazing. And yeah, I know that, you expect your parents think that you're the best and the cutest and the most beautiful. And we know that orangutans think their baby orangutans are the best looking thing ever. So, of course, validation feels good, but I'm telling you, as a Scorpio, the sooner you learn that you are going to be your best friend, that you're going to be your best advocate, that you're going to be your best champion, and that you're going to be the person that loves yourself the most next to your mommy and daddy in the world, or your adoptive parents or fosters or your big brother who raises you, or whoever it is, those people that are caring for you probably love you more than life itself. You got to love yourself that way. Before anyone else can love you, you got to love yourself. Before you can love anyone else, you got to love yourself. Don't forget what I'm telling you. You don't need other people to make you feel good about yourself. Just like you don't need alcohol to make you feel good about yourself. That'll make you feel like crap. Have you ever seen what people look like who drink or do drugs on a regular basis? They look like crap. I always want to take them and put them in front of a mirror to say, do you think this looks good? Look, you look gray. Or if your skin is supposed to be this really beautiful, deep ebony color, the whites of their eyes and even their gum lines don't look healthy. And I got to show them, let me look at your gums. Or we could see that even the most beautiful, dark, toasty skin has a yellow undertone, and we're like, something's wrong here. It's called a nutritional deficiency. And what is the alcohol doing? It's wrecking your liver, okay? And imagine people who do drugs. What are the drugs doing to the mind? Killing, just, like people who unfortunately get stuck on some really crazy crap like heroin and methamphetamines. Oh God, it's just killing millions of brain cells as you go along. You might not even know it and you'd be like, but what? Nothing's wrong with me. It's like, yeah, dude, you can't even talk. And so you don't need these substances to make you feel better because actually it isn't going to work. Smoking cigarettes, what will it do? You'll end up carrying an oxygen tank around if you live that long. Maybe get one of those holes punctured into your throat so you can breathe a little until you die, basically suffocated with no one being able to help you. Or you end up doing drugs and could end up, if they're chemical drugs, most especially altering your DNA. And one day you want to have babies and those children could have problems. So think about it. These things that people think are so great about altering their moods, it isn't. It's just basically creating a denial exit point for yourself. If you're really that unhappy, you need to face up to what it is. And even if you have no one in the world that says, I love you, talk to me, there's always going to be you and your higher self. You and whatever you consider to be the divine or the spiritual, if any applies. You and your spirit guides, I guarantee you they are there. And some of you are walking around with tons of them. It's not to say that some people need more than others, but sometimes we do have cases like that where I'm like, geez, this is a train wreck in the making. We need about 50 people over here right now. Or there are people that need fewer people, but they have one that shows up all the time. So even if you can't see them, doesn't mean they're not there. So hold strong and true, and you're going to be fine. Friday, we've got the 10 of Swords in reverse. Again, a good indication that you're moving away from this kind of sorrow, this kind of reality where you realize at the beginning of the week, you know that you've got to move away from it, or you physically are actually moving away, which for those of you who have a move potential, it will probably benefit you immensely and create more happiness and prosperity and opportunities for you. If you're not moving away physically, like I said, it will be those of you that are moving spiritually or even just getting these situations behind you in the past. And so the Ten of Swords, of course, can be crazy, but you guys are used to it by now. That it means that now the worst has happened. The end is irrevocable. It's been a non-negotiable point. Maybe that person doesn't want you in their life or vice versa. You don't want it either. Or you're finally like, you know what? Jeez, I don't want everybody's damn drama. I got to go to college, because nobody else is going to be able to do it for me. And I don't want to wake up and be 50 going, oh, shit, and popping a beer. That's pretty much not the way you want to end up. I guarantee you it looks good and funny on King of the Hill or some other shows. But it really is not the way you want to live a real life. Venus and Scorpio sextiling Pluto in Capricorn will again help you make sense of how you view yourself and how you communicate with your higher source, your higher mind, your spiritual self, that part of you that's got a hard line to the divine, to that other dimension. This will be you making more sense of it. And even though you feel like, it's kind of bittersweet, Rita, I don't necessarily like bittersweet chocolate. Well, sometimes that's just what we've got. You don't have to eat the whole thing. You could nibble on it like a little mouse. And also at this point, we've got the Sun in Sagittarius squaring North Node in Virgo. So for you, this is kind of the idea that some realizations must come to you that you feel you've got to change up the people that you hang out with, or there could be, I'm not hating, but there could be an influence of people in the group, and maybe other people could accuse you of the same, because we don't know what everybody's doing or how they're thinking. And there could actually be some influences, some people that are what we would call poor examples, right? They're not thriving in school. They're not even trying. Maybe it's their family's fault and they're not getting them help. Maybe they refuse all help and are just going to go down train wrecking the whole way, screaming, crashing, burning, and ending up 50, cracking a beer and, trying to look for your next cigarette on the ground. And so you also have the opportunity to make these adjustments, and they will in future help you align yourself with a better romantic proposal in the future. The reason why I know this is because whenever people are having difficulties, children, young people, teens, you guys are not really children, but just to put it in perspective, so I'm not talking about the crotchety old people, that when you young people are going through these changes where you have to realize, wow, these people only like me when I have money to buy them chicken McNuggets at McDonald's. Or, whoa, check it out. I'm only as good as the money I can give you to put in your gas tank. And then you make these realizations like, look, all of y'all are stoned people and not functioning. And here I am not doing well because now everybody thinks that I'm just like you. I think I need to go focus on myself. That's what the North Node could do. It could help you even weed out groups of people where you're like telling your best friend, dude, we need to not hang out with him because even though he's got a car and all that, this guy's going to get us killed because I know he smelled like alcohol when we got in the car. Or hell, you end up driving with somebody that even if your parents aren't checking, I'm one of the parents who do, I don't let my kids get in cars with other kids. There was the most beautiful little girl I've ever seen showed up in a vehicle with her sister to pick up my son, and they invited the other younger. And I said only if they've got a decent vehicle and only if they can prove that they've got a driver's license and insurance, because the older sister was 19. I saw this little girl and she was bringing out her credentials. I'm like, oh my God, sweetheart, I don't think you even need to do that. And I realized that these people were so together and so conservative. There was no fear. They went to Walmart. They went on errands. My youngest bought Legos. They were just kind of hanging out to be friends. And, sometimes that's where we have to kind of weed out the people that we know we don't trust because they're either drinking and driving or worse. They don't have a license. They don't have insurance. And, those are the times when people wrap their vehicles around telephone poles. The idiot driving isn't the one that gets hurt and everybody else dies. Have you ever seen those texting commercials, those texting videos? There's a really famous one that is extremely graphic, but it really hits the point. Those are the kinds of images we need to remember, because there are people that could jack up your life in a New York minute only because nobody really noticed that this person was stoned and got everyone killed. But he's going to live in prison, but he'll live. Venus and Scorpio will in conjunct or quincunx Uranus and Aries. And again, this is really helping you make sense of what it is that you believe is good for you. And it could be that you're making these realizations like, check out my skin, dude, look, it's bumpy. I put my foundation on and it looks like I'm putting on spackle. I think I'm not eating well enough. Cut out the white refined sugar. Have toast or your cereal in the morning. You guys need nutrition. And then make sure that you eat good, eat well at school. What they give you, even if it looks like it's mystery food, it is nutritionally safe. And then try to get yourself lots of fruits and veggies. Ask your mom to pick you up a bag of carrots and dip it in the magic ranch dressing. Ask your mom to help you learn how to warm up the oven, because you're going to cut potatoes into wedges and you're going to make your own potatoes and a party dip, or maybe you're going to get chili and pour it on the potatoes, and before you know it, you've got protein, you've got the potatoes, you've got a healthier snack than you would have if you would have grabbed another bag of chips. Like, check out people's skin that you know either party, drink, smoke, they don't sleep well, they're struggling in some area of their life. You'll see that they don't look well. That's the body saying, please help me. I need your help. And on, most of the time, if we don't have parents watching, guess what, sweetheart? It's up to you. Parents don't do the worst because they just feel like bad is good. They do the best they can, and we have to forgive them even when we realize, wow, you could have done a better job. I was out of control, and you should have sat on me, put chains around my legs, and kept me at the dinner table for the next 48 hours so that I wouldn't leave and be with the people who are, not the best influences, right? We don't judge people for it. We just know that we can't be around it. And if we're saying, dude, look, stop. I can't be around your secondhand smoke. I can't deal with this. This is bad for me and you. You're scaring me now. And if they're like, stuff it, be like, all right, God bless you. Make the sign of the cross or whatever works. Saturday, we've got the world card in reverse, and this is indicating that you're feeling like things are coming together. I think it'll be a little bit more rocky for you as we move into the weekend, only because you're such sentient beings. Like I said, the adults, Scorpios, are much more used to difficulties or different adjustment periods. And most of the time, especially the older they get, they make it look easy. But trust me, they've gone through what you have gone through too. You can't really see evidence of it because they've learned a lot. And you guys have a tendency to pack a lot of life into a very normal lifespan. You're living like 5 and 6 and 10 times the life other people do, just because you're so emotionally intense. But allow yourself to grieve the process of even just dealing with your emotions. If you feel like you've got to listen to some broken country song and it helps you bond with the emotion better, as long as when the song's over, you make a note of it and say, well, I dealt with this emotion right here. I'm not in love with my tractor and I don't need a truck. Cross it off. I refuse to wear camouflage 24/7. And no, I don't want a class ring. I saw this, and no hate to the camouflage people. Okay, I get it. But I saw that Jostens offers an actual camouflage class ring. I'm like, holy shit. Okay, makes me want to pop a beer and wear red flannel. I don't know. I don't kill stuff, so I don't do the hunting thing either. On Sunday, we've got the 7 of Cups upright. Although I must say, if people need food, they need to go do what they need to do. There are people that buy their tags and they really need the food out here. That's what I understand. I totally get it. No problem there. But, the people that go on the hunting expeditions and they're like freaking wealthy dentists and anesthesiologists and they come up here to look for a moose. And I'm like, you guys suck. You don't even need the food. What do you want? Antlers on the freaking wall? Death energy? Go for it. Whatever makes your boat float, Mr. Rich Man. 7 of Cups upright is a card that indicates you've got a lot of potential, a lot of hopes, dreams, and wishes. And for you guys, this is a much stronger energy in that sense than it is for the adults. For you guys, it is more of a potential, much more real. Just keep it real. Make sure that your grades and all of your chores and even yes, sir, no, ma'am, whatever you have to do at home and contributing to the chores and doing what you need to do. And also, if you feel like you need to have a conversation with somebody and you don't have anybody in your family that you can talk to, make sure that you only communicate with friends who are sympathetic to you. Do not tell your deepest, darkest secrets, because what happens, somebody could inadvertently talk it, text it, type it, post it, and then everybody's embarrassed and we get kids terribly, terribly upset over these things. And, law enforcement is present on all platforms, on all different social media, and they're trying to catch as many of the freaks as possible. Like I tell you guys jokingly, you think you're talking to the hot 17-year-old guy. And that is about a 48, if not 58-year-old freaking scary ass, greasy guy in a tent somewhere with Wi-Fi. And he's going to hurt you when he gets you. So do not talk to people that you don't know. If you really have no clue who this person is, that's your sign to move along. And not, I would rather have you tell me, Rita, I just write in my journal, or I create these messages on my phone and then I delete them. I create a notepad text and I delete it when I'm done. Great, because you really don't want your deepest, darkest anything, especially if it could get you busted. Especially during a time that Mercury is about to go into shadow here on the 19th. You really don't need that communicated everywhere. But the 7 of Cups is very hopeful for you guys. So work through your pain and discomfort. Work through your experiences. And if they aren't personally yours and you're having somebody close to you that you love suffering through these things, work with them. Tell them that you love them. Maybe they just need somebody to sit there quietly with them. How we girls, we do that. We'll just sit there and go, dude, I know. I know, dude. Check it out. Girl. Uh-huh. Shit. This sucks, right? Right? Let's get ice cream. You know, girls, we know how to work it out eventually, but, you know, it feels so much better sometimes. It's just that, Scorpio, you tend to be loners anyway. And let me tell you something. If you've got a friend to comfort and they're trying to pass you the peace pipe, you know the answer is, dude, no. Let's be together in real time, here, in the now, ever present and coexisting with nature, free, radical, and unbiased. No drugs, don't do it, trust me. Life is a trip as it is. Being a Scorpio is a freaking trip, is it not, you guys? I don't think you need a damn thing.